Hello and welcome to this information webinar about the BSB30415, which is all about the Certificate 3 in Business Administration. This is our first round of skilled capital funding where we are offering this qualification with the RTO. We're super excited about it and we're really excited to have you possibly on board with us as one of our students. My name is Carla Scalia. I'm the RTO manager here and the training manager at Communities at Work, and it's my privilege to guide you through this information webinar for the sake of making an informed decision about whether enrolment into this course with us as your RTO is the right fit for you. You would have received information brochure about our rolling intake with regards to this qualification, and so hopefully this webinar along with that brochure will give you enough information to make a decision. However, I will be supplying with you our contact details. Please do get in contact with us if you have any further questions. We're happy to sort them out for you. So I am going to turn off my video now so that you can get all the information you need from the slides, and I look forward to guiding you through this process a little bit more. So before we get started, I would very much like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting on today, being the Ngunnawal people, pay my respects to elders past, present and future. A special welcome to those of you who identify as being Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. Thank you for having me on Ngunnawal land. So a little bit about what this information webinar is going to cover. We're going to give you a bit of information about us as an RTO with regards to who we are and what we do, some information about the course structure around the Certificate 3 in Business Admin, career opportunities that you could be exposed to via completion of this qualification, the modes of delivery and how we will offer you the training and assessment within this qualification, assessment and entry requirements, fee information with specifics to skilled capital funding, and steps towards enrolment if you are interested in looking at enrolling with us. So here at Communities at Work, we own and operate our own registered training organisation, which is otherwise known as an RTO. And our name is the Centre of Professional Learning and Education, or cple as we're known to Communities at Work. We've been operating in the ACT region since 2007, and we're registered with the Australian Skills Quality Authority, which is the regulatory authority within Australia that governs all RTOs. In addition to this Certificate 3 of Business Administration qualification, we offer a Certificate 3 and Diploma in Early Childhood Education and Care, and we also offer professional development learning opportunities to early childhood and education care services in the ACT. So a little bit about the qualification to start off with. So with regards to the BSB 30415, which is the official code of the Certificate 3 of Business Admin, this qualification reflects the role of individuals who apply a broad range of administrative competencies in varied work contexts using some discretion and judgment. They may provide technical advice and support a team. So business administration roles involve a wide range of skills, including using various computer packages, working with others, diary management, accounts receivables and payable, data entry, and records management. So it's all about the skills that you will be using within an office-based environment. So some of the topics covered within this course through the units of competency that form it is using a wide range of business technology, so Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. It is important to note that this is a Certificate 3 qualification, and so if you do not have any experience in already using these products, such as Word and Excel and PowerPoint, you may need to look at a lower level certificate in this business administration cohort to be able to build those skills up before moving into a qualification where you're required to use them in a more complex ways. Document and resource production, a lot of your assessments are going to involve you producing documents that cover a range of requirements. So everything from producing letters to producing reports, to producing presentations are all going to be part of this course. Quality customer service and working with others is another area of focus within this qualification. And obviously, if you're working in the area of business and in an office, you are working with a lot of customers and clients, being able to engage in those customers and clients in professional ways is essential to being a competent person in this qualification. Working within workplace requirements, policies and procedures, which goes without saying in all areas of work that we are employed in, not just within the office, but in any other sector, but it is a big part of this qualification as well. And understanding and implementing health and safety of all is also essential, and it is covered in this qualification also. Employment opportunities, there are lots for you to choose from upon completion or even engagement with this qualification. So you can be anything from an office administrator to a bookkeeper, data entry operator, a junior personal assistant, receptionist, accounts officer, word processing officer, documentation clerk, secretary, legal receptionist, fee officer, or a logistics clerk as well. So lots of depth of options you have with regards to where you choose to work with this qualification. So a little bit about the qualification structure. So the Cert 3 in Business Admin is comprised of 13 units of competency, and you'll need to complete all 13 in order to complete this qualification. Successful completion of the course will provide you with a nationally recognised qualification, which means that your Cert 3 Business Administration is not only valid here in the ACT, it is valid everywhere across Australia. So here is a rundown of those 13 units that are within the qualification. An explanation of each unit of competency is provided to you within your Cert 3 Business Admin Rolling Intake Brochure that you would have received, and you'll be able to see through that document that each of these units have got a little synopsis and a little bit of an explanation about it. As you can see, there are 2 core units that you are offered and the rest are electives. This qualification is delivered to you over a 12-month period where you get access to each unit of competency, 1 per month, and the expectation is for you to complete it within such a period of time. The only one that's a little bit different is the first one, develop keyboarding speed and accuracy. Look, we recognise that for some of you, you may already be proficient in your keyboarding speed and accuracy. For others of you, it might take a little bit more time. So what we do is we give you a whole 12-month period to be able to complete that unit of competency, because you might need a little bit more time to practice the requirements to meet the assessment expectation. But other than that, every other unit is given to you over a period of a month. This intake will involve differing modes of delivery that all make up what this qualification looks like. So Canvas, which is our online learning system, is the online learning system you will have access to. You'll have access to your learner workbook and your assessment workbooks as well as additional resources such as links to websites or tools that can help you further develop knowledge and skill, as well as access to videos that you can watch if you're more of a visual learner and you want to understand a little bit more about the course requirements. It's a really easy to use system. Our existing students love it, and we have no doubt that you will too. In addition to our online learning system and sitting within it are pre-recorded webinars. So these webinars will guide you through core concepts within each unit of competency. Instead of coming to a class necessarily to be taught this information, we record it in a pre-recorded webinar so it's accessible to you on demand and when you need it. And they're there to help you understand course content as well as understand the assessment requirements. We do offer you face-to-face support sessions also, and you will see the dates for these in your intake schedule. These are opportunities for you to come, bring your laptop. We will have space available for you in the Tuggeranong Community Centre in one of our rooms there, and you will be able to come in, have access to a trainer over a 4-hour period, ask questions, sit there, work on assessment. It's a supported study session of sorts to just help you keep on track and give you some space and time to be able to complete the assessments in amongst your busy day. We also will have access to video conferences as well. And again, there's a video conference scheduled with you once per month, as you can see in the rolling intake brochure. But in addition to that, it is also important to note that if you need to touch base with your trainer assessor in a face-to-face way, you can't quite make it to a face-to-face learning session, you're able to organise a time with us outside of that scheduled time. All you need to do is pick up the phone, flick an email, give us a call, and we can organise a video conference with you for the sake of offering you additional support to answer any questions that you have and to help you through the assessment requirements. And last but not least, workplace visits. So this is a vocational education and training qualification. It will require your engagement in a workplace to be able to complete the assessment requirements. And for that purpose, your trainer assessor will be popping out to your workplace to verify your practices, to speak to your workplace supervisor, and to make sure that you demonstrate the skills required to be competent within this qualification and the units of competency within it. There are some assessment requirements to be aware of, and as I touched on briefly in that last slide, practical experience is required. So it is a requirement that you complete consistent work experience or gain employment upon enrolment into this qualification for the sake of being capable of meeting assessment expectations. You will find that the assessment requirements for this qualification are broken down into theory and practical. Each unit of competency will have a theoretical component to it that you'll answer through a knowledge check workbook. There's also workplace projects that will involve you being engaged in a workplace and you creating documentation or liaising with customers or clients or even your workplace supervisor for the sake of producing evidence to submit for your assessments. For this sake, it is really important that you are part of a workplace to be able to complete this in. It's important to know how, given the nature of this qualification, that doesn't necessarily need to be in an office-based role. For example, if you are currently working as a manager in an early learning service, you would be responsible for producing documentation with your parents, with your staff, with your educators, and they are areas that you could use to submit for your assessment piece as well. So if you're in any role that requires you to work within using Word documents, creating spreadsheets, developing presentations, you can look at completing this qualification very easily. Because we do work in an online learning space, you do need access to some IT infrastructure. A computer and or a laptop is really important to be able to access Canvas. Internet access is super important too. You'll need access to Microsoft Office and the suite that comes with that. So things such as Word, PowerPoint and Excel or equivalent. If you don't have those downloaded to your laptop, you will need to purchase them for the sake of completing this qualification because all of the assessments will involve some form of Microsoft Office suite requirements and webcam capability as well for the sake of being able to access video conferences with your trainer assessor. If you have done previous study within this qualification, so for example, you might have started your Cert 3 Business Admin a year or so ago and you didn't quite complete it, but you did receive a statement of attainment to say that you have completed some of the units within it, please give us a copy. Upon enrolment, we can definitely look at credit transfer processes with you. We do offer RPL within this qualification. It is important to note that it does come at an additional cost due to the labour intensiveness of this process. Our fee structure document will have further information about RPL if you choose to go down this pathway. Entry requirements for the Certificate 3 Business Administration. So as we discussed before, basic computer skills and an active email address. Being proficient in your computer skills is relatively necessary for this qualification. This is not an entry-level computer-based qualification. We do expect you to already have the ability to know how to operate within Word-based documents, to know how an Excel spreadsheet works, to know how to navigate your way around PowerPoint. This course does not teach you those basics. It is about you using those skills to be able to develop further within more complex business-based documents. So please keep that in mind. The ability to apply for and gain employment or work experience is really important as well. As I said, this is a vocational education and training-based qualification that will involve engagement in a workplace to complete the assessment requirements. If you're not currently enrolled, it is strongly suggested and, dare I say, essential that once you gain enrollment into this qualification, you begin looking for employment for the sake of demonstrating the assessment requirements and the competencies involved within this qualification. You also need to demonstrate the ability to read, write, and communicate proficiently in English with basic numeracy skills. And that goes without saying. You will be producing reports and documents for your boss, for your CEO, and they do need to have correct spelling, grammar, punctuation. They need to be professional in their presentation. And so language literacy numeracy skills is a significant part of this qualification. We do require you to sit a language literacy and numeracy assessment for the sake of us being able to assess the levels that you currently hold. And you will have received a link to Humantix, which will allow you to book into one of our language literacy numeracy sessions that we have scheduled for this intake. As you will see on the Humantix website, we have 3 days worth of LLN sessions coming up on the 18th, the 20th, and the 22nd of May. There will be 2 sessions available to you on both of those days. All you need to do is attend one of those. The session goes for 2 hours and we assess your LLN skills via the use of a paper-based assessment, as well as conversations we have with you over the phone or on the day of the session. It's really important that there are some levels for you to achieve to be able to gain successful enrollment with us. We will explain what those assessment requirements are on the day of the assessment. However, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to give us a call. So skilled capital funding is available to you at this point in time, which is wonderful. It is a subsidised training option that is not available to everyone all year round. It only is available on certain areas of certain dates of the year. And there is an intake coming up. So skilled capital funding is an ACT government-funded training initiative. And what it does, it provides you with subsidy with regards to reducing the cost around what a course would cost for you in out-of-pocket expenses. It is important to note that there is eligibility criteria that applies in order to receive this form of funding. So the eligibility criteria to receive skilled capital funding in the ACT is as such. So you must have Australian citizenship and or permanent residency. It is important to note that there are some applicable visas that you can use to gain access to this funding. If you don't have Australian citizenship or permanent residency, please supply us with your visa information and we can investigate whether you hold an eligible visa to be able to apply for this funding. You must be over the age of 18. You must not be enrolled in any other course attracting government funding. So if you are currently enrolled in another course that attracts skilled capital funding, or you are possibly enrolled in a traineeship or apprenticeship, you're not eligible to access a second skilled capital qualification. You can only access one funded course in the ACT at a time. You must not be currently enrolled in or attending school, and you must live or work in the ACT. It is important to note that this is ACT targeted funding. You need to comply with either of those requirements. So the cost of the course under skilled capital funding is $500, and the ACT government will pick up the tab for the rest. And considering that a Cert 3 business admin can cost students anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000, as you can see, it's heavily subsidised and it's a wonderful initiative. It's important to note that this $500 is non-refundable. So, for example, if you accept a place within our intake and we successfully enroll you in the funding and you choose a week or so later to cancel your enrolment, you are still liable for your $500, and it is a non-refundable portion of the course fee. That said, we do have payments plans that we can put into place for you if you are finding that $500 is a little bit too much to cover the cost of all at once. All you need to do is discuss that with us and we're happy to put that into place. You may be eligible with the ACT government to receive a student incentive payment of $300 upon completion of the qualification, so long as you meet due dates and timeframes. So there is an eligibility criteria applicable to receiving your completion payment. It is important to note. You can get more information about this on the Skills Canberra website. However, if you are eligible, it's a really nice bonus to have at the end of a qualification, and obviously does mean that your qualification really only at the end of the day costs you $200 out of pocket, which is an absolute bargain. We do have fee-for-service options available if you are not eligible to receive skilled capital funding. Information about the cost of the course is available in our course structure brochure that you would have received also. And please feel free to question with us a little bit later on if you have any questions about what this might cost you. It's important to note that the cost of the course will vary if you come in with any previous study as well. If you're eligible for credit transfer, we do not charge you for that in the fee-for-service option. So next steps with regards to where to from here. Watching this webinar is the first very important step in making an informed decision about enrolment. If you like what you hear and you're looking at possibility of enrolment, please book in and attend one of our scheduled LLN sessions and sit the required assessment piece. Sitting the LLN is a compulsory requirement for gaining enrolment into this course. We can't enroll you without the completion of this assessment. So please jump onto the Humantics website and make sure you secure a spot. It is important to note that in the LLN session, we will be adhering to social distancing requirements. We'll only be taking 9 people at a time with our big ballroom space that's located in the Tuggeranong Community Centre. If your LLN levels are achieved, and as mentioned before, there are levels that you do need to achieve to be able to move through the enrolment process, you'll receive an email with your LLN score. And if you reach that required score, you'll need to confirm whether you wish to accept enrolment within 3 days of that LLN being marked. And you need to ensure that all your enrolment paperwork is finalised at this stage. It's vital to note that to apply for skilled capital funding, we really need to have all of your documentation with us before we apply. If we don't have the required documentation, we cannot put through an application for skilled capital funding. So please make sure you're organised, you respond in a timely manner to all of our emails if there's any outstanding paperwork that we need to be able to secure you a place within this intake. Skilled capital funding will be applied for on the 27th of May, and you will be notified of the outcome by the 5th of June. So as mentioned, skilled capital funding is only available at selected times during the year. This intake is available between the 27th and the 29th of May. We have 3 days to be able to enrol you into this type of funding. So that's why it's really important that we have all your paperwork ready to go. Once we apply and we receive confirmation from the ACT government that we have secured you a place, we will let you know by the 5th of June if we've been successful and next steps with regards to engagement in your study. Your first official unit of competency, however, starts on the 1st of July, and that's when you'll officially engage in your Cert 3 Business Admin and commence your studies. With regards to the LLN session, it's a really great opportunity for us to be able to meet you in person, as well as to collect a lot of the documentation that you need to enrol into this type of funding. And so please make note of the following information. So as I said, make sure you enroll first of all. If you're not enrolled, we can't accept you into one of those sessions. Please be on time on the day of the session that you have selected to attend. It is a test-based environment, so we wish to make sure that participants that are coming in to sit the assessment have optimal learning environments. It's quiet, there's no distractions. People coming in out of the room can do that. So please make sure you're on time so we can ensure you're all seated and ready to go for the assessment. Please bring a pen and a calculator. Remember, if you have a mobile phone, you have a calculator on that too, and you're welcome to use that also. Most importantly, please bring with you the originals for the following documents. So an enrolment form, your terms and conditions form, a completed payment form, which can I note that payment will not be deducted until you are confirmed a place in the intake. We will email you these forms through once you register for an LLN session. Please note that there may be additional paperwork we may forward through to you at this time. We will give you all the information you need within your email that you receive to let you know what documentation you need to bring. But please ensure that you print it out, complete it, and bring it with you on the day of your LLM. In addition to your paperwork, please make sure that you bring one form of photo ID with you that has your date of birth. A driver's license, a passport, or a proof of age card is sufficient to prove this. Please also bring with you one form of evidence that proves your residence or employment in the ACT. So again, if your driver's license states a current ACT address, this is okay for that too. If you live in New South Wales, but you work in the ACT, you'll need a letter from your employer to say that you are employed in the ACT. So please get yourself a letter from your boss on official letterhead with your workplace address on it that confirms this fact. A utility bill also with your name on it is enough to prove that you live in the ACT. Also, bring a green Medicare card with you. This proves that you have Australian citizenship or permanent residence. If you don't have a green Medicare card, please bring with you visa documentation for the sake of proving eligibility. Can I suggest if you are also holding visa documentation because you don't have permanent residency or Australian citizenship, to give us a call before booking into a language literacy numeracy session to ensure that you are eligible to receive the funding in the first instance, because we'd hate for you to come in and waste your time. Please also bring with you certificates of any other study previously completed within this qualification. And as mentioned before, we can look at credit transfer for you. Look, as always, if you have questions, if you need anything answered, please give us a call, 62936220, or flick us an email, cple@comms@work.org. We're happy to answer any additional questions that you have after engaging in this webinar and reading over your brochure for the sake of making an informed decision about enrolment. But we really do hope to see you at the language literacy numeracy sessions and looking at the possibility of supporting you through this qualification for the sake of gaining successful competence and another piece of paper under your belt, which is always exciting. So we hope to see you soon, and thanks for tuning in.